Solutions 8 live. I got all frazzled, y'all. There's a thing that I need to do in Restream, and I forgot to do it, and I got distracted.
We're professionals.
Yeah, we don't know what to do when it comes to running a YouTube channel. But we do know Google Ads. And we already have 15 people here.
Oh my gosh.
Instantly. Yeah, dude, we've maintained about 50 to 100 viewers across all channels every week.
It's nuts. It's
crazy.
Crazy.
We don't have any questions yet, though. So in the meantime, I think what I'm going to do is go welcome our new members.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Let me pull up that little list. And we've actually been losing some members. Not a lot, but we don't have a 100% retention rate.
Can't please them all.
Yeah. Curtis is here. What up, Curtis?
Hey. We got a super chat.
A super chat. What do you see?
It's a super chat from Paul Corrado. Thank you, Paul. I'm not sure. I can't see the chat though, but
I don't even see a super chat, dude. Where do you see that?
It's in the chat stream. It says, sorry, everyone, some technical difficulties. But it just says messages from the audience will display here. Paul Corrado, super chat, $4.99 USD. And then it just says a blank chat. So if you're just signing up, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Soren22 just signed up. Thanks, Soren. Paul Corrado gave us $5. Thanks, Paul.
Hey.
I don't know where that money goes. Like, I know people give us money, but YouTube hasn't paid us that money. So it's just sitting somewhere in an account. I got to go figure it out.
Google just keeps it.
We have Mark Villanueva just joined. Stephen Quinn joined. Kane Cornegay, Gogden Pasca, and Southwest Mobility. Thank you all for joining.
Yeah.
And it looks like the questions are trickling in now.
See, Kane says, new member, long-time listener, where do we ask questions? Well, I can see them, so that counts right there.
Bam. Kane says, how often should I be replacing low-performing assets within asset groups as soon as they've been scored, or is there a better methodology?
No, so actually what you're going to want to do is those scores change when conversions change, which is really odd. So what I've been using as a good rule of thumb is if you look at when your pending then gives you an initial result, which means you'll see pending results in your asset group, and then you'll get a low, best, good, or sorry, low, like low, good, best. Low does not mean low as in bad performance. It also means two other things. Has not had enough results yet, or Google is actually saying that there's been poor performance that has been tested. So those scores move. So when you look at the asset group, so a good kind of generalized rule of thumb is if you look at the asset group and that asset group has conversions, which means if you look at the search categories, the DSA portion, which is a good amount of traffic, and then you look at the overlap in asset groups, it'll say this search term came in and had a 10% conversion rate, made me $2,000. Cool. And it's happened 47 times, let's just say. When you look at this as 13 asset groups, you can actually click on like the 13 asset groups, and then it'll bring you to a new page where it says, well, this asset group actually had 9 of the conversions. This asset group had 10. And if you look at that asset group that had 9 conversions, and it'll give you the asset group name, then go into the assets in that asset group that had the activity and look for best, low, and good. If it actually is low, chances are that's not really going to move. But if the asset group says low and there's been no conversions in the search categories and also no conversions in the listing group tied to that asset group, you got to wait. So you can actually find a correlation and causation. Does low mean low because it has bad performance, or does low mean low because it has zero performance? It's kind of like a credit score. Like everyone defaults to nothing until you start to do something with credit. Like it'll just give you a score once it actually happens. So I would normally wait 2 months, depending upon your budget, the activity, and how many asset groups. Like if you have 80 asset groups and $10 a day, don't look at it week 2. It's not going to have much results. But a good rule of thumb is after 2 months, you should see the majority of the asset groups that are delivering you those conversions, and then look at the scores within those asset groups specifically with your listing groups and your search categories. And if it has has a lot of activity, then make adjustments accordingly.
That's a good analogy, credit score. Khalid Alameri, what's up, Khalid? Can I use my Google YouTube ads to send traffic to 2 separate domains? They're eCom brands.
Say that one more time.
Can I use my Google YouTube ads to send traffic to 2 separate domains?
Yeah, I would actually use Google Tag Manager and make sure the tag manager is placed on both those domains. Make sure you have different conversion actions for each one of the conversions you're counting. So if it's, let's just say purchase, call one like purchase dash this website, the other will say purchase dash that website. There's going to be some overlap. You're going to find that. Sometimes if they look at one and then they also see another ad and they click on a different ad and then it goes to a different one because they're similar targeting, you might have, first click went to that website, second click went to that website and buy. So you're going to see some overlap there between them. Don't be surprised if a YouTube ad is counting conversions at both sites. Just one has obviously more. But yeah, it's absolutely possible. I've done it many, many times. We've done it where we have one company that's representing like 5 different companies, and we just make sure the tag manager is on there each time. You can actually track a click. But here's what's cool is using tag manager specifically. I can have my destination of my conversion action over here, send a click over there, that if it ever navigates back to this page and actually converts, it counts as a conversion. So you can send traffic anywhere. What's funny is if they ever navigate to your page that you're tracking those conversions on, it will actually track. Tag manager will do that. Analytics will not.
What's the best display remarketing campaign set up to retarget Facebook traffic?
Man, I would track. Here's the thing: is I like Facebook very simplistic. So a best one that I've seen that I've done is had a Facebook only destination. So that destination is not found organically directly or in Google Ads. So traffic is being sent to that page only from Facebook. Then put your analytics tag on that page as well, and then make a analytics custom audience of people that stayed longer than 10 seconds, and then anything else that you would deem to be relevant to that specific conversion and goal. I can't tell you like only go over 60 seconds because you're like, well, only 100 people visit that a month. Then that's too restricted. So there's some variables there that I can't give it to you. But normally what is good is because you're sending Facebook traffic to a specific location, and Facebook traffic is inexpensive and usually by massive amounts, you can say, okay, only take the good people in that and then use either video or even dynamic remarketing. The bad part that happens from that, though, is Google may say I converted, Facebook may say I converted too, and technically they're both right. So you have to make sure you whittle through that. What is your cost on Facebook? What is your cost in Google? What are both tracking as conversions? How many conversions did you actually have? And what's the combined cost of both channels for those conversions? Because sometimes you have a $10 conversion on Facebook that took an additional $20 of remarketing to get there, and now your cost really is $30 when the goal is $15. Individually, they look good. Together, they look bad. So just know that that's going to happen too.
Lead goes, thank you for the great value you guys provide on the channel. The YouTube videos John posts are super helpful. And then he's got 4 of your emojis back to back. I post videos too. Passive aggressive compliment there.
I really love John. What you guys are doing.
Next up, Soren Tutu. Hey guys. First, I have to say that I'm blown away by the amount of information I learned from you over the past few weeks. Watched all the videos and really answered too many of my questions. Thank you. You're welcome, Soren. Thanks for being here.
Awesome.
Is there any way to tell when you should split your PMax campaigns into multiple campaigns if you have a big inventory with many products with different profit margins?
Here we go. There's the question you will not be able to answer within Google Ads, and that is, did a click happen on product A that purchase product B? Google will see that and keep that same path live, active, and pushed, which means I get 20 clicks on blue shirts, but I don't sell blue shirts. I sell red shirts. Google says you had 20 clicks on the blue shirt product and sold 20 blue shirts. So your information in Google is incorrect. Let's just know that up front, because now everything else that you planned on doing is irrelevant. The second thing you have to go do is hop into analytics, go into your eCommerce tab, go into your product performance, then overlay your Google Ads ID and identify, sorry, not Google Ads ID, your Google Ads campaign ID, and identify how many products was actually selling from that campaign. And almost one by one, day by day, track the clicks and conversions you saw in Google Ads to the actual conversions of the products you saw in analytics. Because what analytics is going to tell you is people came from that campaign and bought these products. Google Ads is going to say, yes, but they use those ads to buy those products. So big crazy thing here. I've shot myself in the foot many, many times over this issue. And where I did, okay, well, I actually will take the product here that's selling, move it over there, and then I'll take the product that wasn't selling it, I'll move it over here, and I'll force spend on it. Well, what I did is I actually just took all the traffic that I was going to bring in from this campaign to buy that product. I ignored that and I started trying to push sales to that product. It works sometimes, but they're a different audience, and Google is already trying to push something, and it's not just going to allow you to simply just push it over yourself. It's a very, very odd thing that happens. So what I would say is if you can leave it in one and use all of your conversions and all of your sales and find a good AOV and CPA, that's generally rule number one, because you can't see that inside of Google Ads. If you have to separate it out, what I would separate it out is by what you would need to force spend on based on a ROAS or CPA or LTV goal. All products are going to have a different AOV, a different LTV, and a different CPA. That's just going to happen. What you have to weed the first is am I getting a good LTV? Because the product I was selling had a good LTV, but the ROAS stinks. Well, now nothing's broken. So look at the control. You're breaking it out to get control. So how would you control something? Daily ad spend goal. Daily ad spend, I guess the goal would be ROAS or CPA. Let's just use that for example. If you break it out that way, a lot of times you can set yourself up for success. Keep them all as bundled as possible. Don't hyper segment too much because you're going to stretch your budget too thin. I have clients with 25 Performance Max campaigns on 300 SKUs, but I have $25,000 a day. I have enough money to do whatever I want. It's easy. I can't do that with $100 a day. I'll give every single campaign like $5. Hopefully that works. It won't. So make sure you're not stretching yourself too thin, but segment them out as much as possible. A good rule of thumb is use your site's sitemap. So if you look at your website, it says, hey, I have 3 main categories and 5 subcategories per product. Okay, we'll start with those 3 main categories. Those are your 3 Performance Max campaigns. Good area to start. Because people that are interested in these type of products have good AOV, good CPA, and I make a profit margin of X on the majority of these products. It's a good way to separate it up on not stretching yourself too thin. If budget dictates, separate out 1 campaign per product if you'd like, if you have 20 SKUs. The only thing you're going to do, though, is know that the campaign performance is not the product performance. That does not mean it was that product. And if anybody has a problem understanding this one, because this took me a while to learn, hop into your listing groups, if in your Performance Max campaign, look at the price of the product, look at how many conversions, look at the conversion value. You'll see a 200 product had 1 sale, you made $127. It means that product didn't sell. The more you have that, the less control you're going to have. Sometimes you just start to take off the low spend, low ROAS, low profit margin products, just eliminate them. Sometimes you can get 50% more efficient by doing that. Those products will still sell. They're still on your website. You're just not pushing harder money towards those for a bad result. So it's really, really hard to just give you a generalized rule of thumb. Just know, what do you need to control? Do you need to put ad spend on a product? You have to break it out in its own campaign, period. No way around it. Or do you need the ROAS to be above an X and the products in there will never deliver that? You need to move those out. Do you need to spend less on a product because it's having poor performance? Remove it, or you need to move it out. So the only thing you need to control on is, do I need to force or restrict spend? And do I need to dictate the goal of what that product ends up selling after they click? Hard stuff.
Don't ask John questions unless you want the answer. Like Khalid says, is Google CPC reporting coming in real time? There's no way.
Oh, is Google CPC reporting coming in real time? The best I can find is 8 to 12 hour lag.
Yeah, there you go. I was about to say, the amount of computing power that would be necessary in order to do that.
They would charge you for Google Ads.
Yeah.
They charge you to run ads on Google Ads, which is funny.
Jason James is here. What's up, Jason? Kane, new member, long-time listener. Where do we ask questions? Kane, right wherever you are right now. That's ask questions, and we will answer them to the best of our abilities. Tommy's here. What's up, Tommy? Curtis Padberg, a little bit of a different question. I have a Google Ads agency myself. What would you recommend the best way for me to do outreach? Direct mail, Curtis. As much of that as you can get done.
Carrier pigeons.
Yeah. Flyers. What are the sky riders? No, honestly, we use Google Ads. Our Google Ads campaign is our number 1 lead acquisition source still. I'd also strongly recommend launching a community somewhere. Our buddy Corey, who I think is here. Is Corey here? Yeah, Corey Lindholm. He does a lot on LinkedIn. He became the LinkedIn guy. Colin Schmelbeck did a bunch on Twitter. He became the Twitter guy. Go pick a channel. We're YouTube, but we're not. There's like room for more. You know what I mean? Uzair's on YouTube too, and he's our buddy. So just start creating as much value as you possibly can, and people come to you.
Yeah, here's the thing: is you have to. I don't even know how many. There's last time I checked, there's like 5,600 Google Ads agencies worldwide, or whatever it is.
And 6 creating content. Like there's, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like there's space here.
and out of 5,600, 5,400 are bad.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting about this is you have to earn the trust before they'll pay you money. That's what a big lesson that I learned. And you have to do the work first. So, for example, if you come to us as a lead, we have an initial call, we gather your goals, we do a recount review, we hop on and say, okay, if we did this, we think this is where you'll end up, and take 45 minutes to explain that in depth. Here's why. Here's the problem. Here's what we're going to run into. Here's what we're going to watch out for. If we do this, we can stay for this. What do you think about this? You have to become, you're getting hired for a job like an interview. And so no one goes into an interview and you're like, I do the thing you're hiring for. Why aren't you hiring me? Like, that's not how a job interview works. You have to provide value and show work up front before they say, okay, I trust you. These people are handing you the future of their business, really. So the way we use YouTube is, hey, we're smart. You can trust us. That's how we're doing this. But no one ever just come off the street and be like, you do Google Ads? Yeah. Are you good? Actually, never mind. I don't really care if you're good. Here's money. That doesn't happen. So you need to show them you're good and do the work up front. I would do this: direct outreach to someone. Say, hey, give me a half hour of your time and just read-only access to your campaign. I'll tell you everything that's good, that's bad, what I would change, why, and what the result will be. And I'll do it all for free. You'll be surprised at how many people say, okay, because half of those people don't either know or are upset with their Google Ads agency.
Yeah. Jason James. Here we go. We're back in chat now. Can you talk a little bit about how PMax remarkets? Is it still only 20%? And how exactly does it do it with its asset groups?
Yes, so PMax does remarket primarily through display and YouTube, a little bit of discovery, and also the Gmail ads. It's a GSP, so Gmail sponsor promotions. It's only going to remarket, though, to people it really believes is going to buy, sort of like how TCPA really only markets to the people it thinks is going to buy. So there's a lot left on the table. However, what's left over may not be actually really that valuable. So if you leave remarketing to PMax, it will do a really good job, but it will do it at an 80% efficiency. But don't pay too much for the extra 20%. So for example, if I have a website that's selling a product and I'm scooping up 80% of my conversions from high quality, low bottom of the funnel, high intent traffic, and the remarketing efforts of that as well, I'm not going to start another remarketing campaign at $50 a day where I'm only spending $100 a day on PMax and then go remarket to everybody that came to my site. Because PMax is going to say, thank you. And these are all people I don't think I'm going to buy for. You do it. And then remarketing is just going to show the ads, and then you're going to have 120% ROAS and not know why it's not matching the 300% that PMax is doing. PMax is scooping up all traffic from all areas and remarketing to all quality traffic in all areas and scooping up as much as it possibly can. What's left over is small, unless you segment out your remarketing to other very specific facets. So like, I have URL expansion turned off my PMax campaign, but I know I'm driving search traffic to this page. Build a whole remarketing campaign for that. There's no one remarketing that one. So just as an example, just know where Google remarketing lives. But if you are to remarket to PMax, use a starting point of 10% of that budget and see if there's additional traffic that you can scoop up there, but don't be surprised if it doesn't scale.
Archie Jeter. What have been your results in running product feed only, asset only PMax campaigns for smaller budgets? Regina actually just did a video on this. It's in our YouTube channel.
So feed only campaigns are good for existing traffic a lot of times. And what I mean by that is Smart Shopping was really good at gaining some good quality traffic in shopping. Let's just assume that there's no other traffic source. What Smart Shopping will do is say, okay, I have enough for 10 clicks a day. Get 2 from shopping, and then get 8 more clicks from those 2 people. And that's what Smart Shopping did. It was very good. It scaled slow, but it was strong and predictable because it did the safe aspect. When you launch a feed only PMax campaign, you're doing the same thing. Get some shopping clicks, but also it uses display by default if there's only a feed in dynamic remarketing. So again, it's going to follow the same path. The problem is, though, is if you're trying to get new customer acquisition, and if you're trying to get new cold traffic. That's going to be the least effective, but it will have the highest ROAS. But sometimes if you say I get $10,000 every month, and then you scale your feed-only PMax, you might make $11,000, but you scale by 2,000 because you start to over remarket to the existing users who are already coming to your website, let's say organically. They're not really going to buy any faster. That campaign is already scooping up the ones that are most likely to convert because they've already been to your site, so the ROAS is high. But that's what you have to identify is heavy amount of remarketing at a high ROAS. That's not delivering a new customers to the ratio of what I'm spending. Is it worth it? Sometimes no. So that's where the PMax feed onlys have a fault. Now the asset only PMax, those are really good if you have amazing assets on a really high quality product that you don't need shopping for. So that's what's really interesting is those will work on their own really well. But just know that it's like if I have a product, you're purposely excluding shopping. The feed only and PMax asset only can work together if you do not have a massive amount of traffic from any other source scooping up enough budget that feed only is going to say, actually, I'm going to go after those people. They've been here longer and they've been here more frequently. Your asset only is going to have high bounce rate, which means low page on site, which means low session duration and session pages per session. That may not be enticing enough for feed only PMax to say, yeah, but the traffic you're actually driving from Facebook is better. I'm going to go there. So again, I can't say it depends, but I'm trying to give you all of the pieces of the puzzle so that you can fit your own metrics in there and say, okay, actually, I do have a lot of good traffic on Facebook. I see that my smart shopping campaign, which is now my feed only PMax campaign, is doing a lot of remarketing, and then I crank that thing up. I actually don't make any more money, and my feed only and my asset only PMax is actually delivering a bad bounce rate. Well, that's why PMax together makes sense because I can bring in a whole bunch of high quality traffic. I can remarket them, and I can find the best areas in both areas. So there's a use case for both, but I would say that it really depends on, is there other traffic from other channels and are they high quality? Because that's where those two campaigns won't talk to each other. Asset group only will not feed into your feed only campaigns, do much remarketing because feed only got ADD and is off remarketing your Facebook traffic.
Tommy Dukas now. We have a T-ROAS shopping campaign that works really well according to Triple Whale. There's your first problem. But less than half of the conversions are reported in platform. Should we keep lowering the T-ROAS to scale it up? Just say it. Just do it.
I don't like Triple Whale for a multitude of reasons that I don't want to have a lawsuit on by saying. So my apologies here. I can't help you with the Triple Whale attribution. The modeling in my
neither can Triple Whale.
The modeling, in my opinion, is not possible. So that's why I have an issue with it, and I've had clients that are hurt by it, and then tell me, well, no one will tell me what to do. Like, attribution models, of course, across all platforms are junk, and I just had bad experiences with Triple Whale for things that cannot be possible. So for this, my opinion is, let's just forget about Triple Whale for a moment. Don't cancel, don't do anything, just stay with them, but just forget about it for the moment. And if you have a shopping campaign that is reporting less than half of the conversions in platform that Triple Whale says is actually reporting double, let's just assume that maybe that's not the case at Triple Whale. And if your shopping campaigns inside your platform are not, let's make sure you're not using analytics as your tracking source. Let's make sure that you have at least your attribution model set up to appropriately count all those conversions in your shopping campaign. If that's usually the first click, if Triple says, hey, first click usually happens in shopping, then maybe use first click. My question is, if you have a shopping campaign, are the search terms branded? Is Triple Whale telling you it's the first, second, 18th or last step in the funnel? Are you running your Facebook campaigns to the same pages? Because branded search terms inside of shopping will also scoop up remarketing from Facebook that Triple can't see from view attribution. This gets really, 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 really deep. We're talking about the difference between view and click. First attribution, less attributed, and then also your attribution model inside of even Google Ads as well. So I wouldn't make necessarily a change. I would have a conversation with Triple Whale and say, where is this coming from specifically? And is it attributing to view or clicks? And do you see them as the first point of click? If Triple Whale says your shopping campaign is delivering first click attribution all the way through to a sale, change your attribution model to first click if you're not already. See if that solves the problem.
Jay, in a PMax campaign, would all products in a listing group have the same bid if they're not subdivided?
In the PMax campaign, would all products in a listing group have the same bid? No. The bid is irrelevant inside of PMax from a control standpoint because the bid is dictated by your bidding strategy for that person. if I have maximized conversions, for example, and Kasim is someone that Google thinks is going to convert, I could pay $2, $3, $4, $8 a click for Kasim. If I have a TCPA on my maximized conversions, I might spend 60 cents once. And if he converts, I hit my CPA. If not, then I did waste too much money. So it really depends on, does Google think that person's going to convert or not? And are you asking it to be expansive or restrictive? In which means maximize conversion value, expansive, target CPA, target ROAS, restrictive.
Suzanne, does quality score visible on PMax? Does it matter if you can't track it to improve it?
So yes, but imagine your quality score is now on all of your they call it ad rank, but then they don't tell you what the ad rank is for to find it. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of this made up term where, and I get what happened. Basically, it's like, okay, what's your quality score on shopping? What's quality score on search? What's your quality score on display? Well, jam it all together, make sure that it's good enough. What are we going to call it? Ad rank. Like they basically just, kind of combined it and gave it a new name. So my opinion is follow best practices of your individual networks and apply that to your PMax campaign. If you have a junk feed and your ad copy in your asset groups has nothing to do with the product because you're calling it beautiful-esque, like that kind of stuff, yeah, you're going to have a low ad rank. Google's not going to know what that means. So try to keep your DSKs, if you have it as your signals, the same as your ad copy, the same as the product, the same that's also in your site titles and your descriptions, H1 through H6 tags, alt tag, everything. You have to have everything as possibly consistent as you can. It doesn't need to be the best, it needs to be the same, which is really weird to think about. So make sure that your descriptions, your headlines, and your long headlines are all very product focused, just like how they would, or service focused, and keyword focused, just like how they would be in a normal search campaign. And make sure that your images are not low quality. They don't have words over them. They're in the right formats. Like if you only have one image and you needed 3, you're going to get a low ad rank if you only have one image. Same thing if you have a low quality score if you only have one image. So just know that all of your best practices on your individual channels still follow with PMax. You just have to do them all at once.
Juan Jazami. I'll be running campaigns in the UK from an account that has set Sydney's time zone set in the payment profile for business reasons. Aside from having to factor in the time difference in scheduling, does this scenario have any impact on optimization?
Not that I would see, no. Just know that there's that time difference when making optimizations to things like time of sale or even time lag. But I mean, you might be off 12 hours. I don't see. Again, here's what I'm saying: if you're like, hey, all my conversions coming at 12, and that's in the wrong time zone, then what's actually reality? Just know that 12 may mean 6. But I don't think for billing it would have any impact.
John Rolo, how do you break down performance by asset group? Say I have 10 asset groups. How do I see which one is performing the best?
Listing groups, search categories, attribution model matters. For example, your search categories will have more brand in them, even if they didn't start there, if you're using last click. That's the keyword that's getting the last step of the funnel. Using first click, it'll be more non-brand. If you use data-driven, you're going to get a mix of both. Just know your customer's journey, their customer path, the time lag, and new customers, even if you see brand, and also what other channels are you marketing on. But in the 10 asset group, look at your search categories. You'll see 10 asset groups, click on 10 asset groups. It'll actually go to a new page and say, these 7 actually had 1 conversion each, but this 3 had 50. So it'll tell you which asset groups on your DSA portion are doing well. Hop over to your listing groups and see, does those asset groups also have sales? Now you've covered at least shopping and search. You're 80% of the way there.
Benoit Saint Laurent. I'm sorry I
What
pronounced
an
it.
amazing name.
Yeah, sounds like royalty.
It does.
When it comes to campaigns involving a feed, shopping, or PMax, what are your best feed optimization advice? We have some clients with a very large inventory. Most of them use Whoops Commerce.
Whoopsie daisy commerce. So I would actually take your best keyword strategy and use that overlaid inside of your feed for your titles and your descriptions. High quality images does help. What's interesting is there's a lot of SEO that goes into feed. So think about if you have a background in SEO, for example, your focus keywords. Don't do anything that's intentful because you'll get extraneous text violations. If you can't say like "buy is on sale of my shoe," but be descriptive and try to focus on high amounts of search activity. So check Google Trends, check Google Keyword Planner, and if I was to change, again, I'll use my fun old 3x Shopify example from 2 years ago. If you have a wallet, don't call it wallet. Call it brown leather wallet billfold. For example, I'm going to get 10 times the search, but don't call it, sleek, stylish brown leather wallet, cheap, good, because then you're going to get everything. So try to be as honest and descriptive and accurate as possible in both your title versus title, then your description. But you also have to make sure that your feed is on your website. Remember landing page experience? Google reads your website. They wonder what's on there. If it's just a picture of a wall with a buy now button, you're going to have bad experience no matter what your feed is going to have. So make sure that your feed titles and descriptions are also on the website for that page. So your page title is also brown leather wallet, billfold, whatever it may be. Google uses latent semantic indexing. It knows English, it knows categories, and it knows topics. So it's going to find you 1,000 search terms for brown leather wallet. But if you can add in anything else that's a very unique selling proposition or unique value proposition to that, that is going to be helpful. Things, or even things like kit or bundle. I can't say free shipping. You'll get extraneous text. So be careful about what claims you make, and you can't call a title an attribute of that title, which is like it's fast shipping on my brown leather wallet. That's not a product. That's a sentence. So my recommendation is look to see where the most traffic. Look at your search campaigns. Do you also have search terms that are converting well? Maybe can you take a variation of that for your title? What you're essentially doing is trying to say, hey, where's the most demand and how much can I match that? But then match it in your feed, title, description, and your website. Where you're finding the demand is your search campaigns, Google Trends, Keyword Planner. Usually high competition in Keyword Planner means that is a good search term. So if you have that in your shopping, you can sometimes scoop up a lot of good traffic. Make sure you also have GTINs enabled, because anything that's also selling on Amazon, boom, instant audience for you.
Suzanne, am I missing something, or audience is only set at the campaign level, not the asset group level?
Am I missing something, or audiences only set at the campaign level? No, in the asset group, you should have signal, and the signal is your audience. Now it's a hard target with expansion opportunity. What that means is that you say, hey, Google, head to these people, and they say, I tried that, didn't work. So I went there. Like, that's what could happen.
Abir Sayed, what's your recommendation for a massive sale event vis-a-vis PMax, assuming same products as usual? Does increased budget crash ROAS after? Duplicate campaign to supplement. Don't push through PMax.
No, I've had good luck through PMax. Make sure that you're using your GMC promotions, though, because that's really amazing. It goes on all your shopping and all your dynamic remarketing imagery right through one campaign. So use GMC promotions. The problem that I've seen is that you don't start a new campaign for it because it takes too long to ramp up. You can change your asset group titles and descriptions and see very little result in a downward trend. Like the amount of sale and the amount of success is really dictated more than did the ad copy work well compared to the previous one. So GMC feed is good. Updating your asset groups, my opinion is don't add in new asset groups, because Google's going to say, all right, in about 2 to 3 weeks, I'll trickle some ad spend there and see if that works better than this one. You have to take your best performing asset group and change it. And everything's usually really, really good. the bad part. Changing things back and lowering the budget is something you have to do kind of with it. So as soon as the sale happens and the sale starts to dip, as soon as it starts to dip, you have to now outpace that dip with your daily budget while also changing your asset group back. So sometimes it's like you're running at level 30, then you go up to level 100. At levels 80 in the volume, drop it down to level 60, and you're gonna outpace your reduction in your spend, which keeps your ROAS high. Changing around that asset group, you're going to have like a 4-day lull, and then it'll come back.
Jay, is there a way to have listing groups that are subdivided by custom label 1 to be automatically further subdivided by item IDs that have the specific label in it?
Yeah. If you want to do a custom label and you add that custom label to a listing group, so not your asset group, but your listing group, yeah, you can. It'll keep those refreshed whenever you fetch. So if you fetch daily, then daily that thing's going to update. Now it won't do it hourly. It is going to be based upon when your feed updates.
Corey Lindholm, anything in GA4 you guys are really loving? Reports, metrics, insights?
Not yet. It's still work in progress. I have a lot of same issues in UA that I do in analytics. So what's funny is the same reason, and this is a Google Ads person talking here. A Google Analytics person is going to have a different experience, but Google Analytics is only 60% useful to ads. So by default, I stay away from it unless I need audiences. Audience creation and analytics is much better, but the analytics from a conversion tracking and optimization standpoint is 60% as good as tags. So by default, I'm like, okay, so I have some accounts where I don't even have analytics hooked up. It's a smaller account and it's conversion tracking well, but analytics isn't going to give me anything more useful than my small budget would be inside of Google Ads. So I haven't found anything that I've liked yet. The Firebase connection for app downloads is freaking awesome. That's cool. But other than that, I haven't found anything else besides the Firebase installation for app downloads.
You know what the Winchester Mansion is?
No.
It's the gal. I might be getting this story wrong, but she was the heiress or the wife of the guy who created Winchester guns.
Oh, sweet.
And after he died, she went crazy and she started building. She thought all the people that had died from these guns were coming after her, and so she started building on top of her mansion. Hold on, dude. This is relevant, I promise.
Story time.
Yeah. So the Winchester Mansion. The widow of the firearms magnate William Winchester, and she built because she thought that for as long as she was building on the house, the ghosts couldn't get her. And so, like, you'll open up a door and nothing will be there, or you'll go to a staircase and like there's nothing at the end of the staircase. Like, it's just this weird. You got to Google Winchester Mystery House. I'm dropping it in a
wow.
Here's why I bring it up. That's GA4. You open a door and you're like, well, there's nothing here, and you go upstairs and it just like lands off. Like, it's just the most. I'm sure that there are things coming, but you can see the holes that they left. Like, they didn't even try to clean them up. So
yeah, there's some oddities here that, and then what's so funny, it's like, okay, I finally got it, amazing. Now what? It's like 60% of your conversion tracking is actually accurate by the channel. I'm like,
all right,
it's like the Winchester house, and you get it all done, but there's no plumbing, and there'll never be plumbing. Nice beds, but I can't flush a toilet.
I got a hop, dude.
Yeah.
For my call, so I'm just gonna keep this window open but mute myself, and then you're on your own.
All right. Where did I leave off on the questions here?
We're on Suzanne Knudsen. Have any scripts been released for PMax?
Perfect. I'll start from here. Thank you. See you, dude. And now there's just us. Any scripts been released for PMax? Yeah, there's actually some scripts that are coming inside of actually the interface, which is actually pretty cool. You can actually hop into Google Ads and then go into the script area. And then I don't know if it's in beta, so I don't know if it's actually like out to everyone just yet. But there's actually scripts now that you don't even need. I forget the script company that generated them. There's Caden knows, but I don't think he's here today. But there's actually a place that you can actually download the scripts and use it in Google Ads. I use scripts very, 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 very infrequently. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask about this. But in the scripts area, if I just hop into one now and I start a script, let me just see, as I think it's actually happening now. But it's just loading because Google's nice and slow. if you're Google, if you're watching, speed up your servers, please. But yeah, the script area, there's new ones. There's not necessarily PMax specific. I think they're even still trying to get PMax off the ground. But I haven't seen anything that I like, except for one that you can actually run ads to areas that have crazy weather. So if it says, hey, if it's raining in this area, it'll run an ad to those people. But it's not something that I've used often because I don't go off of weather events. I usually go off of where conversions come from. So I use it very, very seldomly. William Chen, I can't highlight anymore. Kasim was the only one that could do that, so I'm not allowed to highlight because I'm not the host. But it says for eCom, had this PMax for 4 months at 3K per day, spend crazy for a few days, get cheap clicks from display, drain the budget with 0 conversions, had to pause the campaign to save money and restart. Do you guys see this insane shift to display and how should you handle it? Yes. It actually happens a lot of times with YouTube as well. So what ends up happening is you get a big, you get some good numbers, and all of a sudden it says, hey, I haven't actually tested like display. What happens when I have display? And then it shoots up display, and then display gets tested for like a week or two, or how long your time lag is. And it's like, well, that didn't work. Shift over there. And it's going to shift back and forth, back and forth. Google says it takes 6 weeks for PMax to actually normalize. That means testing all those different channels. What I usually do is in the first 6 weeks, I run it on a skeleton budget. So I run it for like, let's say $100 to $200 a day. If I need to spend like, 2 or 3K a day, and I'll run it for anywhere between like 200 and 500, knowing that I have other campaigns that are already up and running and churning. Our normal launches on a client accounts anywhere between like 3 and 10 campaigns, just based on goal and strategy and all the other stuff. But I'll always launch a PMax campaign, then I just wait. Once PMax will actually start to rise up in anywhere between 2 and 6 weeks later, and then I start to add in more ad spend, and you'll actually see it start to pull out from other campaigns. So just know that that is no way to get around it. There isn't. There's not a way. The only way you can mitigate it is by not giving it a whole big gigantic budget right in the beginning if you can't wait through those oddities. And you're going to see it's like, boom, whoa. Like it's the first 6 weeks are just a roller coaster of emotions. It's like it did good, it did bad, it did amazing. The way that we protect ourselves from clients freaking out is, well, I explain this to them, but B, also support it with other campaigns. Dave Bogle. John, what is your general rule for min daily ad budget, CPC X5, CPC X10 to get good results? I actually say just off the bat, minimum amount. And oh, I'm so sorry, someone's at my door. I'll be right back. Please hold on one moment. There you are. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. So I'm just dropping off a package. So minimum that I'll usually start with is 5K per month. I know that's a high budget, but it's because we're an agency. If I was doing this by myself, it's gonna be massively different. I will never usually, I don't really necessarily have something as a minimum. My campaigns sometimes only have 50 and 60 clicks a day, but I'm paying $80 a click. So again, is it ad budget? Not really. I need to have enough activity to feed the algorithm. That's the first thing. Am I giving it enough conversions for maximized conversions? 5 conversions per month is not going to leverage that. Something's wrong with my structure. So a lot of times I'll use I don't have a set amount, but if it's like, that's just never going to optimize, or I need to get the cost down, I need to give it either more ad spend or cut out some fat. What I've found though is that campaigns under 5K per month is not usually, or actually under campaigns under 3K per month, you don't really need this huge big structure, and you're going to start to waste. You're going to start to waste ad spend by stretching yourself too thin. If you try to do like a 5 campaign setup on $100 a day, everything's just going to spend just enough money to make you mad, but not really see any good results. So I would say that I don't really have a good rule of thumb for clicks versus CPC or traffic to the website. It's more of, is this structure across all my campaigns delivering me at least 20 conversions per month for me to get it to scale and control? Under 20 conversions a month, it's very hard to see what's not working because you're not doing enough activity. And that's where I have my daily ad spends, or my monthly ad spend minimum is usually like 5K. We're paid off results. So my answer to you, Dave, is going to be different. Is going to be different than what I would say if I was running a campaign by myself. When I have my side business, I'd run one campaign at $50 a day, but I'd wait like 2 months to see a result. But I'm a Google Ads person. I know it's going to take them on at that spend. I can't tell a client, hey, I'll speak to you in November. That's going to be your month. They're going to fire me. So a lot of good rule of thumb is, are you getting at least 20 conversions per conversion action, even if it's coming from 6 campaigns? That's where you're going to have to make your decisions. Late on breaks. Solutions 8 is beyond amazing. Hey, thank you. I swear, but I didn't pay that person to say that. Glad I found you guys. What's your favorite strategy for B2B lead generation based on services with low budget? 3K per month. Average CPC is 85. Average CPC is 85. My opinion, that's a big CPC for B2B services, which is odd. I'd love to know what industry. I'm not saying it's bad. I said it's odd. It's uncommon. I'd love to know what industry you're in. But the best strategy that I found is actually have dedicated unique selling proposition and unique value propositions for the other company. The other thing I would say is the form on that page also does a fairly high amount of pushing away. Like, what company are you with, and what is your company's goals, and well, whatever it may be. What's your business email? So I push away any non-B2B traffic. But the other part is I like to use search terms. I like to use a search campaign with keywords that are pre-qualified. So if I'm looking for like a B2B, for, let's say a company's looking for a solvent. I had that happen to us one time and it worked really well. So people were looking for a company that can manufacture solvents. So solvent manufacturers, solvent distributors, solvent buy solvents in mass, bulk order solvents. You're looking for intent based on the person, based on what they're typing, not necessarily what the ad copy says. Obviously, ad copy is important, but where a person is typing is different. Industrial strength solvent is a person that just had an oil spill on their floor and they're looking for something Home Depot-ish. That's a bad lead. But a person looking for a solvent manufacturing and distribution, different. Solvent company, bad. Solvent producer, good. So you want to take your intent based on what a person's searching for and say, if they were typing this, how can I try to find a way that this would not be a business-to-business type relationship? That's my favorite term. Corey is the man. Go, Corey. You got Aussie Ace is your fan. I'm so bad. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Dave, I am the Google Ads authority on MySpace. It's so funny because 80% of the audience just went, huh? Max, hey all, hope you're feeling great. I'm feeling good. Long time no show. Yeah, it's been a while. Recently heard a theory to get search terms for PMax using UTMs or SMTG, or something like that. Does that ring a bell to anyone? I've been able to slightly make that happen until Google just went off the rails. So you sort of have to dumb down your PMax to the point where it's search, which is why I stopped that test. I have not been able to see the search terms. Google yesterday admitted on a live on Reddit that actually the search categories are still the broad match keyword that it was matched to. So maybe not also 100% true to as well. So in my opinion, Google themselves had just said not possible, and actually for some really valid reasons that make sense. I've had a URL expansion turned off with an asset group that showed up for 90% of its conversions with a specific search term. And then when I sent over those UTMs, I just kind of found out exactly what I knew anyway, that the search term in the search category was actually what was showing up on my UTMs, because I pasted the UTM as my landing page in the asset group with URL expansion turned off, so it had to go there. But all I did was just kind of prefix the UTM and turn off URL expansion, and then got rid of all my videos. And I'm like, cool, I have a search campaign. I'm stupid. So it didn't really work for me. I was like, how do I take PMax into search? Forget search. How do I make PMax into search? I'm like, I'm not a bright man. So my way of trying to get that to work didn't work. But I'd love to hear, Max, if you've been hearing something else, which would be really cool. For direct mail, create a short book pamphlet on Amazon. That is your sales pitch, and order the book as a gift to your prospective clients. It will come in the mail in an Amazon branded package that is 99% guaranteed to be open. Also write gift note to explain why they're receiving it. Brilliant. Oh, I love that so much. I'm going to tell that to Kasim. That is awesome. Jay, your name's just Jay. I mean, the letter, not J-A-Y, just the letter J. Awesome, awesome, awesome tactic. That is so cool. I haven't been out of my little box here in the office to actually see clients in a long time, but that is amazing. Corey says, amen, gentlemen. Thanks, Sussy. Hey, that's perfect. John Pruitt, for SEO, a lot of local small businesses I come across usually go for ad campaigns more focused on search since they want relevancy with their keywords. Yeah, I have that too. My opinion is that's not. Here's my general rule of thumb. If you know the channels you want to be on and you know how to do it, and you're going to tell me how I should do it, I'm not the right fit. I usually provide strategy and oversight, and if we have disagreements, it's not a bad thing. Neither one of us are right and wrong. It's just I don't hire a dentist to drill my own teeth, so it's kind of hard for me to understand why I would go to a dentist. So that's what I would say is something where, yeah, you might have businesses that are focused on that, but they need an employee. They don't need an agency. That's my opinion. Soren, wish to see more DSA videos from you guys. Have you missed anything? No, I love DSA. DSA is amazing. DSA is heavy brand though, to just make sure that you exclude your brand name. But the part that I don't like about DSA is the keyword sculpting is fairly difficult. It's kind of a catch-all. I use DSA to learn what I need to know for my search and PMax campaigns. That's really it. It's like, what didn't I capture and what isn't PMax capturing, and what didn't I think of in my keyword strategy, and what else could it find? So it's a lot of times a bolt on to a bigger strategy that tells me, aha, this is what people are asking for. Make sure I'm replicating that in my search in my PMax campaigns too. Also, make sure you're not just capturing all web pages, because you're going to get a whole crap ton of traffic to your blog that's not going to be relevant. So make sure those are excluded. But the dynamic ad targets and the negative dynamic ad targets in DSA is super, super, super important. Dave said, just an update on my campaign that was suspended for suspicious activity. Google just emailed me and said the account was shut down for violation of policies. Have to laugh. It's never run a single ad. See, that's the problem. You violated a policy. The policy was to pay them money. I can't stand Google with their disapprovals and suspensions. So we just had a 2-hour internal meeting on all of those. And I'm like, we had a client that has a product called Jeremiah Weed Sweet Tea, and I got disapproved for drugs because the company's called Jeremiah Weed Sweet Tea. And they said, you said weed, you're selling drugs. I'm like, it's a sweet tea, sir. Like, sir, this is a Wendy's. So yeah, that's fun. Khalid, is a thumbnail required for skippable YouTube ads? No, sir. It is required though for video discovery. So that's it. It is important. Don't overlook it if you're building out your YouTube video and want to change it into a different video type later on. Dave Vogel, Microsoft Ads said they are racist because we sell black soap. I love this stuff. I feel like John is hinting that someone should buy him a new wallet. I've been saying this for 2 years. No, actually, my wife got me this wallet, and it was written actually a 10-year anniversary, and she had it engraved here. That's my Dave & Buster's card for my kids. It actually has the engraved in here. Then I love this wallet, and no one will ever be able to get me a better wallet than that. John Rollo, for store visit conversions, do you like the first click attribution model? Well, what's nice about this is in-store conversions, yes, but what I also like actually better is going to your conversions into your settings, and you can actually dictate to when Google would actually count that person as another new website visitor, because it's time lapsed. So if you say, hey, count every 30 days a new person, which means if that person goes to a place monthly, they're counted as new every 30 days. I changed that all the way out to 180 days, so I can actually see, okay, if there's 27 people that visit my store, they have to be new in the last 6 months. I wish I had hair. That's actually true. That's actually, yeah. Now my thoughts are just arriving on screen. It's actually pretty cool. For store visits, yep. So let's do this. She built a. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna skip that one here as we only have 5 minutes left. Let's see here. What will happen if I use a customer segment based on my competitor's YouTube video URL? Man, so a custom segment based on URLs is up to Google to what portion of that they want to match. I've had times where I try to send to a page and actually match to the root domain, which means if I want to go to Macy's, but I only want the people that are looking at Macy's pillowcases, it's up to Google, and they don't get to tell you if it actually matched to Macy's pillowcases or just Macy's.com. So you accidentally Google might say, well, there's not enough traffic there, but there's enough traffic on the whole domain. Congratulations, your custom audience is everyone that's went to YouTube. So just be careful. Google gets to choose that. Is there a problem running 2 PMax campaigns over the same products? Yes. So the reason is because you're going to have those two fight. And if there's multiple clicks, who's to say I click on one campaign, then a second click on the other campaign, who won? So just know that's going to happen too. So it's not bad. You're just gonna have half your results in each campaign, and then you have to determine why you thought one was better than the other. So it's hard to measure. Elliot, for e-commerce, is it better for brand new Google Ads accounts to use standard shopping or limited PMax? PMax contains just GMC products and no other assets to maximize conversions. For e-commerce, if you're running existing traffic already, I would use feed only. If you are brand new, I would use a fully built up PMax campaign. Otherwise, you're just going to track. You're just going to remarket all your organic, and you can't control the results of that. So far, it looks like the costs are 5x lower for PMax. The idea behind is to gather data for the real deal, a fully optimized PMax, which will kick in soon. That would be cool. I've talked with the product team that developed PMax, and it's fairly well built out, but there's about another 50% coming, but it's going to take 2 years. So just know that that's going to be a thing. Will then the new PMax steal the traffic from the old and limit one and do some wonders? All right. Will that then new PMax? Oh, will that then new PMax steal traffic from the old? Sort of, yes. Again, Google says the PMax campaign that wins is the one that has better ad rank. Ad rank is also determined by performance. So the campaign, in a nutshell, that has better performance is a campaign that's going to win. Dave says in the South, we consider sweet tea a drug. Yeah, it says Kasim Troll. It may not even be Kasim. That looks like Yvonne. I blame Yvonne. That was Yvonne. The one that said I wish I had hair. I love how you recreated a search campaign for PMax. I will keep investigating and keep you posted. Not sure if that ended up working though. I know. I'm so stupid. At the end of the day, I'm like, I'm a genius. And then I took one step back and said, I'm an idiot. I just recreated search. I actually recreated a DSA campaign. I'm not bright. So we got a few minutes left. Corey says, ever tested 2 primary conversion actions, new versus returning customer sales, and then connected those into separate PMax campaign, assuming NordBeam is used? Yes, actually. We also tested new versus returning phone calls at the same time. The new versus returning, the only problem, though, is the only way we could actually get new versus returning customer sales was an importation through analytics. So it was not very good because it was like, here's one step closer to your goal, but I'm also 40% inaccurate. So I use it as a waypoint to manually make adjustments. When I do this, I saw the number go up. When I do that, I saw the number go down. So I have, but just know that the only way that we found to be able to get a new customer is actually through analytics. Tag Manager, we don't have a client that's sophisticated enough to say only new customers inside of Shopify would get a different conversion action, which it means that they'd have to identify that at the point of purchase. It's really, really, really hard. Let's see here. Last one. John, you are the best man. Thanks for all you do. Thanks, Dave. Love you. I noticed that you started heckling Regina's videos. Keep doing that. That was kind of funny. Is it a good idea for brand new accounts to have 2 PMax? Oh, we already did that one. Oh yeah. Is it a good idea for brand new accounts to have 2 PMax campaigns, but with different bidding strategies? Everything is the same. No, I've never had a PMax campaign run effectively if there's overlapping audiences or products. And what I have had is just this. Like all of a sudden, it goes like this. Hey, this was doing really good. This was doing really poorly. Let's add more budget here. Let's add more budget there. It was just a game of shadow puppets. So it wasn't really good. Thanks everyone. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all